People in the U.S. are helping with moving criminal migrants around. Proven fact, I've got two clips here from one is from CBS, no joke, talking about how Americans are involved in migrant smuggling. And the other is from News 4 in San Antonio. And this is talking about teenagers being tricked into working with the cartels to smuggle these criminal migrants around. And yes, it is all cartel. Anything dealing with these criminal migrants, you can guarantee that it has some form of cartel involvement. You've got folks that are attached to terrorist groups in the Middle East coming over here. You've got folks coming from China, from Russia, that were all going to the Mexican border. Well, there is still some smuggling going on, but it keeps getting found, and so it's pretty much crushed. But I think that we still need to understand how many Americans got involved with this and how they got involved, not to mention that they are still wanting to move around and they can't move around on their own, so they're tricking teenagers to do this. So, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff if these are topics that you want to hear. But let's let you see these two clips so you can understand what's going on. And I have something that I'm going to talk about at the end of this.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
But we begin with the president's crackdown on illegal immigration. He signed the Laken-Riley Act today, named for a Georgia woman murdered by an undocumented immigrant. It says an immigrant who is in this country illegally and commits a violent crime or theft must be held in detention until trial.
Mr. Trump also said he will open a detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, for as many as 30,000 criminal immigrants whose home countries won't take them back.
Some of the immigrants who enter this country illegally are being helped in by U.S. citizens. It is a business. And Adam Yamaguchi got a look at how it works.
We drove overnight to a safe house near the southern border in New Mexico to meet a woman who just hours ago arrived on U.S. soil illegally. Why are you here?
Buscando una vida mejor.
You want a better life. This woman says she was desperate to escape the violence in Zacatecas, Mexico. She paid smugglers over $15,000 to get here. By morning, she'll be dropped off at her final destination elsewhere in the U.S. We learned her journey was facilitated by a network of Americans smuggling people from across the nearly 2,000-mile-long stretch of the southern border, deep into the country.
Americans were doing this. We're the ones who are taking them across.
We got an inside look at the operation with the man who smuggled her. He agreed to speak with us only if we masked his identity. How many people have you moved?
I would say close to 500.
500. This man, who we're calling Joe, was born and raised right here in the Southwest. First, he gets sent a location by a smuggling organization.
I get GPS sent to me, come out here, and we get in my vehicle, and then we head on out. Start the truck, go straight and turn right.
After migrants cross into the U.S. illegally with the help of the cartels, Joe meets them.
We're going to a motel that was used as, a place to help illegal immigrants stay and live there for a few days before they would catch rides to go up north.
There's a guy that's kind of looking around. So these hotels and motels across the region are used to stash migrants?
Oh yeah, definitely, all the time.
These are the types of places you use?
I've used before.
Most Americans who watch this are going to say that you are part of the problem. You are getting enriched off the backs of people. You are part of this cartel-run operation. People are pissed about this.
They are. Is it wrong? Yeah, a lot of people think it's wrong. I try to say, I'm doing something right to help a family out, trying to get away from that poverty, that violence, that danger in Mexico to get to their family here in the United States.
Joe told us he lost his job during the pandemic. This is about money. He says he makes about $2,000 for every person he helps into the U.S. and sometimes moves 6 people a week. These are wire transfers from the illegal migrants you've moved. $1,500, $1,500, $2,500. Wow, this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
As the U.S. steps up enforcement, the cost per migrant jumps up.
Yeah, they're getting ready to spike up right away. It's going to get a lot worse than what anyone else has ever seen.
Adam, Joe said that things are going to get worse. Have things changed in the Trump administration?
Yeah, so I just got off the phone with Joe, and he said that in the early days of the Trump administration, the going rate for moving people, smuggling people across the border and across America has more than doubled, and in some cases, it's even tripled. He also says that he was drawn into this line of work by a buddy of his, and he himself knows of 20 other guys, of Americans who are willing to take on these jobs.
Adam, for the migrant in your piece, why did you pick this guy, Joe, to bring her over here? How'd that work out?
Well, she says that she tried to get into the country legally. She applied for asylum. She was denied, and so she turned to smugglers, which she says really was the only other choice. And she says that if she were to be deported, she'd turn right back around and do it again.
What about Joe? Is he worried about getting arrested for doing this kind of work?
Yeah, we talked quite a bit about that, and yes, he is fearful of being arrested. He expects the government to throw the book at him, but he seemed far more afraid of the people he works for. This is the cartels that are running this operation.
Adam, do you have any sense of how many other Joes are out there, Americans doing this?
It's hard to say because all of this happens under the cover of darkness, but he did tell us that he knows of people just like him across the entire stretch of the U.S.-Mexico border.
Okay, Adam Yamaguchi really got our attention with that one. Thanks so much.
Well, new tonight, attorneys tell us they're noticing a concerning trend. More teens and young adults are being targeted to become human smugglers, and a lot of them being recruited right here in San Antonio. News 4 I-Team's Jordan Elder continues our team border coverage from Eagle Pass, where a lot of smuggling journeys begin.
When you hear about human smuggling in Texas, you probably think of scenes like this. Migrants stuffed inside trucks and trailers.
They think that people are being hidden in trunks or hidden in secret compartments. And that is not what we're seeing as far as the types of cases that are being prosecuted.
In reality,
one body built out, one female body wearing yellow shirts.
It's regular cars like these. Get out! Data shows more young people are being recruited to get behind the wheel of these cars. After they get arrested, their case could land with Amrutha Jindal with Lone Star Defense.
They have no idea what they are getting into.
It's marketed to teens and young adults like a glorified Uber ride. On a social media post, for example, it'll say that they want someone to take friends from Eagle Pass to San Antonio, paying lots of money. People slide in their back seat and they're on the way. The word smuggling or potential consequences are never mentioned.
It looks less suspicious if they're natives, and it looks less suspicious if they're driving back to where they're from, San Antonio, Houston.
Joe Holscher is a criminal defense attorney here in San Antonio. He says young Texans are being sought after for a reason.
In the past, it wasn't unusual for us to see the same individuals arrested over and over. However, those individuals would now face significant mandatory minimums.
In February 2024, Texas implemented a mandatory 10-year minimum prison sentence if you're arrested for human smuggling. These cases move slowly, so we're told the actual impact of the law won't be clear until later on.
It is just absolutely crushing when you're talking to a kid who's in custody, who's looking at a 10-year mandatory minimum.
We asked how those trends could shift now that the incoming Trump administration has pledged to crack down on the border.
What we're expecting to see is a massive shift from state to federal enforcement. But federal enforcement is not that much more forgiving necessarily.
Other attorneys expect it'll get more expensive and more dangerous for migrants looking for transport. Their overall message to you: make sure the young people in your life know the signs to watch for.
They're finding one kid, they're building the organization off of that, and then using that to convince others to try to make these runs.
In Maverick County, I'm Jordan Elder.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more from News 4 San Antonio, make sure you like and subscribe.
Now, these folks are coming into this country, and I've got, well, it's being curtailed, but there's still a path for some of these folks to come in, and they're wanting to come in. Now, our next problem is the Canadian border. No, I don't think it will be anywhere close to what it's been via the Mexican border, but considering how Scheinbaum, I keep coming across information about Scheinbaum and whatnot. Yes, I've done some research into this topic. I am going to be giving you some video evidence, and I'm going to be giving you some of the research that I have had on this. And the reason that I'm researching this is because it explains what people like this Palestinian coalition group in Colorado, it actually works with them, because a lot of the same people that are wanting to attack Jewish folks in this country are also saying that we need to allow these criminals to flourish in this country. So they support terrorism, and they support, people like the dude that took out Laken Riley, and, these violent, nasty individuals. So you need to know how these people move around to understand where they're headed to. They're going to the protection of groups and sanctuary areas like what's in Colorado or California or New York. This is what's happening, and people need to fully or start grasping how we're having it all happen. So, this has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Thank y'all for letting me get over 500. I hope y'all help me get further. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.